All right, and I got another one where we have to support the research, so make sure we do that. But also, it's the second research team's hypothesis. So maybe there's two teams. We got to make sure we pay attention to the right one. So why you got to always read the question. Sometimes they give you specific instructions, and yes, you need to follow them. So let's look at this. Water flowing around an obstruction creates vortices, patterns of swirls of varying size. By detecting the vortices, fish can determine the size and position of the obstruction. Testing by these people using models of three head shapes, narrow, low ratio of width to length, intermediate, and wide, high ratio of width to length, showed that for medium-sized vortices, fish with wide heads would be least able to distinguish between vortices and general turbulence in the water. So wide head is, least able. Okay. A second research team has therefore hypothesized that in low visibility conditions, wider-headed fish will be less likely than narrower-headed fish to detect obstructions. So, dumb summary here, bigger the head, less likely to detect, so less seeing, I don't know what you want to call it, less seeing of things. Let's just see what the choices say and we can go from there. But this is basically repeating the same thing that they said up here. So it may not actually matter that we have two research teams because they're kind of saying the same thing, but let's take a look. So choice A. A study using obstructions that created medium-sized vortices in low visibility conditions found that the bristle mouth, which has a relatively wide head, bumped into more than half of the obstructions. Okay. So that does seem to match in the sense that, a wide head is going to bump into a lot of things. It sees less things, but I feel like I want to compare that to the narrow head, right? Because isn't the whole point that we have different types of heads? And I don't care how many things it bumps into. I care, does it bump into more or less than the other one? So I feel like this just doesn't have the right comparison. Maybe I leave it for a second. Let's look at B. A study using obstructions that created medium-sized vortices in low visibility conditions found that some specimens of dusky smoothhound, which is a relatively narrow head, bumped into the obstructions more often than other specimens of the same fish. Well, here they're making it really explicit that we're only talking about one type of head, right? This is some specimens of the narrow head to other specimens. I want to compare the different head shapes. I don't care about different fish. So yeah, this is definitely wrong. And I'm pretty sure now that A is wrong too, but let's keep going. C, a study using obstructions that created medium-sized vortices in low visibility conditions, so repetitive, found that the wider-headed bristle mouth bumped into obstructions more often than the narrow-headed dusky smoothhound. So this is saying that the bigger head bumped into more things, so it sees less than the other one. Yeah, so that seems right. That seems very dumb and very right. And again, I don't love A. We'll just go to D. A study using obstructions that created medium-sized vortices in low visibility conditions found that the narrow-headed dusky smoothhound bumped into the obstructions just as often as the wide-headed bristlemouth. So this is just saying the head size doesn't matter, right? The zero with the line through it is kind of my notation for doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything. So that's definitely wrong because the whole point is that it should matter. And so there you go. So I'm much more comfortable getting rid of A because it doesn't have that comparison. C is just obviously the answer. It's the only one that has the comparison. In fact, it's not even so much that I needed to know that bigger head sizes meant more bumping or less seeing. Even that didn't matter. All I needed to know is that the head size matters. It could go in either direction and I would have gotten this right because there's only one choice that even allows me to care about that. Certainly, A and B are only talking about one head size, and then D is literally just saying it doesn't matter. So it's very easy here. This would be a good example of a question where, I was fully prepared to have to deal with another choice that had the arrows going in different directions or something. But sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes your filter is really, really simple and only one thing passes through that filter. So yeah, take the win.